Ow, that fucking hurt. Ow, that hurt. That hurt a lot, actually. Ow.
You know what also hurt? X-Men Dark Phoenix.
For not the reasons you'd think.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Hi.
So, hello there, audience. For this review, instead of, just talking about a movie on a couch like what we normally do, like what I did with Valerian, for instance, today we are going to... I decided to do something fun, and...
Fun and different.
What I have here is a list of my predictions for the movie. And he has his on his phone. And we both came up with these, independent of each other, before we went into the movie to see how well each of us could predict what would be in the X-Men movie.
Yeah, neither of us know what the other one wrote down.
Exactly. So, who wants to go first?
My first one was way off.
Okay.
And I was really expecting this, honestly, because it's happened so many times before. Cringy reference to Wolverine's existence. I was really expecting them to just be like, with claws!
Like the scene in X-Men Apocalypse when he was just there to murder bad guys even though he had nothing to do with anything.
Or the scene in like, just any of the scenes in Deadpool where they reference him, or...
Like the fuck off in
First
Class.
Yeah, the go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I got that wrong because Professor X got that wrong in Days of Future Past, and I watched Days of Future Past.
Yeah. I was actually very wrong on this one.
Uh-huh.
I was kind of giving it points and hoping that they would do the right thing with this.
Uh-huh.
I said there would be no references to X-Men Last Stand because they want you to forget that existed.
There weren't.
There weren't any direct references, but they just ended up using a lot of the same scenes.
This is something that Xavier and I both noticed when we watched Dark Phoenix, because X-Men The Last Stand was co-written, not fully written, by the man who wrote and directed this film.
So he did the Dark Phoenix story twice.
So he basically did the Dark Phoenix story twice because he really, really wanted to do it in 2005 when he wrote the first movie, or the third movie technically, but he wasn't allowed to because they had to do the Cure stuff as well.
Yeah.
So this is his attempt to do it all over again, and second time around he did a better job.
I feel like the scene with Jean going home and things getting crazy was a little better in the original.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
And then in the new one, it was just a little underplayed.
So what we're talking about is the scene in The Last Stand when they're at the house and the house starts flying up, and that was a pretty good scene. But the one thing that I don't like about that scene, and it's the opposite of this movie, is that in The Last Stand, Jean Grey Phoenix doesn't do much. She just kind
of disintegrates people.
She just kind of disintegrates, and she just sort of cries a little bit, but she just stands around and looks scary, and she doesn't, you don't get into her head at all.
She makes this face.
Yeah,
but her eyes are black, so you got to edit
exactly.
That. You could go in with MS Paint and just color in my eyes black and screenshot. Just go. That's what she did the whole movie.
And it didn't look... It looked like shit. Yeah, well, that looks like shit, but in this context, what I mean is that it wasn't very impressive. But there was a lot more psychological elements of this movie. So let's do a couple of mine before we go back to yours. My first prediction was Jean.
It's funny because that was my third prediction.
And I put a subtitle to that, which is lots of screaming.
That one was right. I feel like because people knew about that joke and how much I feel like Simon Kinberg was aware of that, so he tried to keep it as downplayed and as minimal as possible. There's very few characters going, Jean!
Jean, let me in! Jean! Jean, let's go!
Because everyone was fucking expecting that. There's like one time it happens. It happens, so we're correct.
And but there was a lot of people screaming at each other in this.
There was a lot of screaming.
Plus, there's a bit with Genosha where we got a yell from Michael Fassbender. You know what you say? Michael Fassbender can do a cool yell.
He also says, "Get to the chopper."
He does, actually.
He actually says that line.
Get in the chopper and go! I can't hold it!
And then my second prediction was Jean doesn't die. And that's yes and no. And
you
we'll
know
leave
what?
it at that without spoiling anything else.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I feel like
that's the ending is gonna split people, and I wasn't completely on board with it, but it was interesting.
It was a fine ending considering they had to reshoot almost the whole thing. I feel like it was a decent enough action scene to end on.
The action scene was really good.
The action scenes were great.
That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the denouement after that.
Oh yeah.
But let's move on to my third one before we go on to yours.
Yes.
And this was flaccid romance. Like, I was predicting that the romance between Cyclops and Jean Grey is going to be really boring because they've had no time to develop their relationship.
Yeah, all that happened off screen.
And I don't know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
It was really underplayed. It wasn't like the point of the movie is that they're a couple. It was just a thing that it's like.
It's a thing that informed the relationships.
It's like, okay, these two characters are brothers, so they act accordingly. It's like these two characters are a couple, so they act accordingly. He wasn't developing that romance or taking it in a new direction. It was just that's how they are around each other.
And as that, it worked.
Yeah,
so let's move on. Let's do 3 of yours then.
Okay. I was right on this one, as I said there would be no Hellfire Club or mind control because that's something that was a big thing in the comic and the '90s show version. Is that the Hellfire Club, which was already used in First Class, would have mind controlled Jean in order to use her powers for evil. Instead, they had the aliens kind of fill that role and even take her to the same location and even kind of dress and look and act the same as the Hellfire Club, but they were aliens. It was very strange. This is a more cynical prediction. Charles, Eric, Mystique, and Jean are the only actual characters, and everyone else is just in the background.
You were wrong.
Because Mystique was not in this hardly at all. And then instead, it actually kind of gave her role to Beast this time.
And also, Jean Grey had a lot to do.
No, I said Jean and Charles, Eric, Mystique, and Jean.
Okay.
So, I wasn't saying that Jean wouldn't have anything to do. I mean, she's the point of the movie.
Next one?
The next one. Two of them are kind of the same, so can I read them together?
Go ahead.
Well, the first one is Quicksilver and Magneto father-son connection, horribly underwhelming payoff. And I was especially right on that one because there was no payoff.
So you were wrong because there was nothing at all.
There was no. Is that not even more underwhelming than if they just did something lame? It's just nope. We're not even gonna comment on it. We're gonna ignore it entirely.
Nope. Well, we're gonna talk about that more when we get to one of my predictions.
But then my other one was Quicksilver scene gets horribly phoned in.
And you were right.
Which was super right. Remember how fucking spectacular and amazing the Quicksilver scenes were? He gets started and he's about to do one in this one, and then he gets interrupted and then leaves the movie and doesn't come back.
Let's talk to my next ones.
Okay.
My next one was Jennifer Lawrence is very bored and dies. Which is kind of true. It's kind of true.
Kind of.
She didn't seem bored.
She seemed like she was trying, and I feel like that's because I think she cared because she knew she was only going to be in it a little bit. It was the Harrison Ford effect.
Also, this is a story that I read from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence said she wouldn't return with another one unless this guy directed it.
Huh.
So, like...
He must have been really nice to her
exactly.
behind the scenes, then.
Also, I feel like she doesn't like Bryan Singer.
That's fair. You know, maybe Simon Kinberg, behind the scenes, is actually just a super nice guy. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Since I started going back to school, you know, I'm doing film classes. Mm-hmm. One of my friends who's a big movie junkie...
Also, please don't put your foot on the table.
Okay. One of my friends who's a big movie buff was saying that he's actually watched a lot of interviews with Simon Kinberg, and he's actually just a really nice guy behind the scenes, and he's just, like, really, really cool and like, humble. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I appreciate that. I feel like we need more guys like that.
My next prediction was speeches about mutant rights, which I was right. Mostly coming from Professor X. Except that this time the
prejudice racism against the mutants was like
a subplot.
It was the most small element in the whole movie.
There were speeches. It's just that they weren't as big or as pretentious.
Well, the context of them was different this time. It's
exactly.
not we deserve equality. It's like, I'm glad we have equality now. Like,
or we need to do this to keep quality.
Or yeah, like the problem was kind of solved by that point. Like.
And then my third one that we're going to talk about before we want more, and this is why I said let's talk about Quicksilver later, is we will want more Quicksilver.
We will be thirsty for more Quicksilver.
Exactly.
We're as thirsty as those fucking American Horror Story
fans.
Which
was true.
We want more Evan Peters all the time.
We wanted more.
Oh, man.
It's true. Okay, let's do more yours.
Okay, I actually had just one more. Mm-hmm. I could probably come up with a couple other ones just because I was thinking about this movie a lot yesterday. Mm-hmm. But the last one that I wrote down was Charles makes a wheelchair joke.
Not true.
I'm trying to think if there was one.
It's funny because I was thinking about this with the wheelchair. I was paying attention to this. In X-Men Days of Future Past, Professor X goes down the stairs because he has a hover wheelchair.
Yeah.
In this one, he goes down the stairs of the X-Jet because it's wheelchair accessible, because it has a special ramp. I just thought that was fun. There was that real fucked up scene when Jean Grey...
She's just like, walk up here, and he's like, I can't. And then she's like, yeah, you can, bitch. And then he goes, oh god, please stop! Oh, I don't like this! And she fucking puppeteers him up. That was actually really cool because it was uncomfortable and like a little frightening.
Yeah.
It was just... It wasn't funny like I was kind of hoping it would be when it started. Mm-hmm. It actually, I was able to take it serious. I was like, oh god, that's fucking kind of mean, actually. Don't do that. Put him down. What's wrong with you, you asshole?
You want to talk about the rest of mine?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Next one of mine will be dumb villain reveal.
It wasn't really revealed They didn't reveal anything about the villain.
It wasn't a reveal. It's just like, oh yeah, they're aliens.
You learned what the villain was the first time it shows up.
And then they just did nothing with it for the rest of the
movie. Well, because I feel like they probably, in the original cut, had a lot more to reveal about it, and we're like, nah. Wait, hold on. I have an important question for you. What's the villain's name?
Vuk. V-U-K.
Do you know that because of the movie, or because you looked it up?
Both.
I don't remember.
They said it in the opening scene, and they had like subtitles over on it. V-U-K.
I don't remember that at all.
You nerd.
At all. Like, I'm really like struggling to remember a single time a character said it.
But after that, but on that relating,
that she was as bad as Malekith in Thor: The Dark World.
That was my next one was
the worst.
My next one was metaphor for mental illness. And I think that's kind of true.
Yeah, they didn't beat you over the head with that, but that was definitely a theme. Mm-hmm. Like, all this stuff is like, you're not broken. Oh, you're different from the other doctors. You're different from the other patients. Being special is a different word for being weird or crazy. Like, you know, little stuff like that.
Yeah.
They, I feel like they handled that very maturely. I like the way they handled that theme.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was very respectful of mental illness. Because it was not as much as Jean struggled with it, it was not a thing that made her less of a person at the end.
And then my next one was the third act was going to be turn on the real villain in order to get Jean back.
So what do you mean,
Like we're gonna all unite against the real villain, and is what's gonna turn the key on Jean's struggle, and we're gonna get her back.
Oh, so that was totally right then.
Yeah, that was 100% right. And then my next one is Magneto is initially useful, and then he turns on the heroes, and then he screws stuff up, which is the opposite. This was wrong.
He started out being an asshole, and then started being the most useful guy ever. Mm-hmm. Magneto got some great scenes. I feel like this was a great Magneto movie. Mm-hmm. Not only is Michael Fassbender James McAvoy, and like those two in those roles are like my favorite part of these movies lately.
I have a soft spot for Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
No, they're different for very different reasons.
But I do agree that these people had more to do with it.
Yeah.
More meaty roles.
I appreciate that Charles Xavier is more of a flawed character now. Mm-hmm. He actually makes mistakes. He's not just this perfect ideal of a man.
That's what they were trying to do, or I feel like my Simon Kidberg was trying to do in The Last Stand, but it just comes out of nowhere and makes him look like an asshole.
Yeah, he just is a dick for no reason. Like this was like he's still a good guy. He just made a mistake, in his quest to do something good. And then Magneto is just he steals all of the scenes because his action scenes are the best. Mm-hmm. He just keeps doing the coolest shit. Every time Magneto is not on screen, all other characters should be asking, "Where's Magneto?" Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then my next prediction was there are going to be speeches about how important or dangerous or, apocalyptic the villain or the threat is. And
you're going to destroy the world? Yes. And then it will be ours. Remember that?
Yes.
So that was right, I guess.
Okay, and then my next prediction was the opening scene is going to be the best part of the movie. And by I meant the opening scene, I meant the shuttle sequence.
No.
And that was not true.
I feel like the final action sequence was the coolest part. They really ended on a strong note. You know what? I don't mind that was all reshoots and they came up with that kind of after the fact. Because that whole fight sequence at the end is really solid. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. Everyone has a cool moment except for Cyclops. Fuck him.
Everybody thought that, the reshoots would make the movie worse. And everybody thought that the train sequence would be terrible because, it's just on a train. It looks ugly. Nobody's going to like it. But, it was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
Everybody got their, cool power moment.
Except for Cyclops. He just went...
Okay, he had one cool scene.
Jean!
He had one cool moment. I'll give you that.
What moment?
The moment was when he broke into the hotel, from outside when he used to be fighting to get to Jean. I was like...
Oh, yeah, when he hit the villain with his laser blast and she just flies up through 3 walls. Mm-hmm. That was cool. I wish he was doing stuff like that constantly. Mm-hmm. To establish a reason why he's because in the comics he's supposed to be the leader, the mm-hmm. not the leader in the same sense that Professor
He's the
Xavier.
Team leader.
He's you get on the ground and you divvy out orders and tell everyone what they're doing.
Daddy?
We're in the middle of recording.
Why did you make me do that?
And then let's talk about the next one, which is forced emotional ending. I was predicting that because of the reshoots, they'd try to force in sentimentality into a movie where there wasn't that sort of sentimentality before it.
I feel like you're right to a certain degree, but it wasn't as ugly as you're making it sound. They just kind of gave it a little bit more of a happy little wrap up. All these characters are still okay. They're happy for the most part. Everything's relatively okay in their world. Mm-hmm. This is gonna probably be the last time you'll see these X-Men or just X-Men in general for a very long while, and that's okay because. We had a good run. Mm-hmm.
And then...
I actually like that. I thought that got me really invested in that ending. I'm glad it didn't go the Civil War route of let's have all these characters hate each other at the end and not want anything to do with each other, and then end on that, like Spider-Man 3, where it's just everyone's just uncomfortable and not sure how to feel now. That was weird. That's
And
not
then-
how you end your movie franchise.
And then my next prediction, which is my second to last one, is, quote, that was fine. Like, that was my prediction. Like, that'd be what I would say when I walked out of the movie.
Yeah.
I won't say it was quite that negative.
I don't know. I was expecting everything to be incompetent or bad or ugly or laughable.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fine. Oh, wait. Hold on. I think there's one on my list that I accidentally skipped.
Mm-hmm.
One F-bomb, not as cool as the others.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that. There's in the X-Men movies, in order to establish themselves as a little bit edgier from Marvel movies, they take advantage of their one F-bomb per movie rule
One
for PG-13.
PG-13, yeah.
And
They gave their F-bomb to Cyclops. Let's just put it that way.
if you want to have something be cool, don't have Cyclops do it. That's how you ruin something. You make it not cool the second Cyclops does it. If someone's wearing a cool jacket and then Cyclops tries it on, that person has to not wear that jacket anymore because it's been tainted. They have to burn it now.
And then my next...
By the way, I'm sorry if you're that one Cyclops fan who gets really uppity and bitchy because people don't like this character. I understand you have to go through a lot, but I don't care. Please don't leave a comment.
Okay, and my last prediction was X-Men fan service. That was an easy prediction. And yeah, I got that.
Like, what would you say?
Like moments that like X-Men fans would go like yeet for that nobody else would really care about. You know, like little things like Nightcrawler getting his little fight moment.
Oh, Nightcrawler being a cool guy was definitely one
coming out
for
of
me
nowhere.
because Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men character.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about, and we got a little bit of that.
We got a little bit of Nightcrawler doing neat shit, and that was nice. Oh, you know what else I was totally thinking was gonna happen and then did? I didn't write it down on my list, but I was right.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna not even attempt to bring up that Mystique is his mom. They're just gonna completely ignore that because it's easier to write a movie where that isn't a factor. So they have no connection at all.
I mean, think about the kind of movie that would be where we had to deal with Nightcrawler being the son of Mystique and Quicksilver being the son of Magneto. Think about all the soap opera bullshit we'd have to deal with in that universe.
Oh my god, it would be so bad to have to deal with emotions in this movie and, character drama. Yeah. Hey, how about instead of having him just, not do anything for 90% of the movie and then do something cool at the end? What if he's really sad because he finds out Mystique was his mother after she got killified, and it makes him, really sad? He's like, why didn't she tell me? I just wish I knew. Anything like that at all? Quicksilver and Magneto could have had their moment. I don't know. I'm mad because, I'm not saying that they should have saved it for another movie. I'm saying, it would have made this one better to have that stuff
Just
wrapped
think
up.
about how long...
Because all that's just going to get unresolved.
Just think about how long that movie would have been, though.
Fine. Okay, give me the extra 20 minutes.
Because in X-Men Apocalypse, I checked this because I was watching it the other night. The first act, right? Do you want to guess how long the first act of X-Men Apocalypse is?
How long?
An hour.
Ew.
Because
An hour of setup.
Because that movie is nothing but, let's just have all of our subplots at once. It doesn't have a main plot. It just has subplots.
It's just 100 things going on.
And then Apocalypse shows up. And that's what
Let's
this
give
movie
Magneto
was.
a family just to eradicate them.
Exactly. And this movie didn't do that, and it was better for it.
Do you think Magneto is less of a human phobe since he had a human wife and a human kid?
He had a mutant kid.
Oh, was his kid a mutant? I forgot.
Yes, it was.
Didn't she do something with birds?
Yes.
Oh yeah. But he still had sex with a human. He still married a human. You can't tell me that he hates the humans still.
I think that's the direction he's going for.
Is that I appreciate that he's not still the humans don't understand us. We're gonna destroy them and eradicate. Like, I'm
He's
tired
more
of him talking about that.
He's more like, I'm gonna kill whoever I need to protect my people. But
Which is
unless
a
you
noble goal.
But if you do that, if you don't do that, that's okay. You're cool.
I appreciate fucking the fact that Magneto is my favorite case of bad guy turns good. He's currently the leader of the X-Men, I believe, in the comics, because Charles Xavier is dead, and he's like, you know what, I owe it to my friend to continue his legacy and stop pushing my agenda. I want to make his dream come true, so I'm going to keep fighting for that. And I feel like that's really cool. I like Magneto. I would say Magneto is my favorite X-Men villain,
also,
as well as my favorite X-Men hero. Like, he's just a really interesting character to me.
Also, he had the best action scenes of any of his movies in this
God
one.
damn, he was kicking ass in this one. Like, every time he showed up, he did something cool.
And then, so with that in mind, I also want to say something positive about this movie, which had the best action of the series.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's powers were perfectly utilized. Even Cyclops, who's been like notoriously fucked over
by the series.
His powers were okay. Here's something funny. Is I was watching X-Men Apocalypse with my dad the other day, and we were just kind of laughing at it. There's a scene where because Storm is a horseman of the apocalypse at the time. He's trying to catch her in one. So you got to put the clip on screen, okay? She's flying away, and he's chasing her with his laser beam eyes. He's like missing. He's like just shooting behind her while she runs away. And I'm thinking, if it's his eyes, how is he missing? He just has to look at her. He just has to look. He just has to point his eyeballs. Why is he looking behind her? How does Cyclops miss? He should never miss. He just needs to look at it. He just needs to look.
You want to know what the weird... Also, you wanna notice what other was real dumb but fun bullshit?
What?
When in the opening action scene.
Oh, in this one, yeah, there was a great moment.
There was a fun Cyclops moment when they were in their shuttle trying to rescue the astronauts, and then he had to like shoot his laser to like slow down the ship.
He's firing his laser.
So then his chair goes down, and then he leans into this like pair of binoculars,
and then it opens a hole, and he just looks through it.
And he just looks through it.
The ship's laser is just a peephole for Cyclops' eyes.
It's such like stupid comic book bullshit, and I love it.
It's great. You know what? Honestly, I feel like I would have had that same idea too. I was like, why do you need a cannon? Just have Cyclops put his eyes up to a hole. There you go. He got him. This guy is the laser cannon. Also, that's a good thing, because like you give him something to do in that scene where he would otherwise be totally useless. Because for the rest of it, he just sits there in his chair.
Which, you're not wrong.
Man, it's not a bad movie. Everyone's saying that it's the worst one in the series. It's just fucking full of shit.
In the series with
Apocalypse,
with The Last Stand, Apocalypse, and X-Men Origins Wolverine.
They don't know what the fuck they're talking about if they're saying this is the worst one. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not great, I won't say.
It has a lot of really good moments.
It has... There's a good movie in here somewhere. It's just like...
That was like 2 more rounds of reshoots away from finishing.
Yeah, if they just added a little bit more, if they just gave it a little extra emotional oomph, if they didn't just like kind of jack a couple characters just because they didn't have time, then I feel like there's something that would have potentially been really amazing. This would have been a good finale. It almost was. It was just short of that.
I'd watch it again.
No, I don't mind this one. Like, Apocalypse is like a chore. This one's like I could totally see myself sitting down and enjoying this one again. This one's a fine film, and I don't mean that as in like that's perfect. I mean it is like
it's not the derogatory fine.
Yeah, it's just it's fine.
It's like when you see like the person that you're attracted to, and you're like, that's fine.
No, I'm not saying that's fine.
You're not sexually attracted to the X-Men?
Are you asking me if I like trans women? Stop it. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll find you and kill you.
Listen, for all the times that you threaten violence against me, usually it's me who initiates violence against you.
You never threaten it though. You just do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference between you and I, is that you're all talk and I'm all action.
You know the difference between you and I?
Hey,
I make this look good.
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
I'm sad now.
I know. It's okay. It's okay, baby boy. There'll be another X-Men movie where they team up with the Avengers, and Wolverine is played by some ex-comedian who's short, and
Listen.
and Cyclops and
Listen.
Captain America hate each other. Oh wait, no, they
Listen.
don't have a Captain America.
Listen.
What?
As long as Wolverine is played by Danny DeVito, I'll be okay with that.
Bob Hoskins is
Danny
like... no, I'm saying...
Fucking DeVito.
Bob Hoskins has the same body type as Danny DeVito. He's just a little taller. We almost had basically what you're describing.
First, Danny DeVito was robbed of the role of Detective Pikachu. Now he's being robbed of the role of Wolverine.
I'm sick of Hollywood DeVito washing everything.
Exactly.
We need more DeVito representation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As a short, hideous man, I also need representation. As a short, hideous man who loves garbage. Because I like Alien Covenant!
I like garbage. I just
band?
like garbage when it's in an X-Men wrapper.
You like garbage when it has a big X written on it.
Yes.
Hey, remember when everyone had really cool costumes at the end of Apocalypse, and they just, in this one, they're just wearing a blue jumpsuit with a yellow X on it?
I didn't mind the jumpsuits.
I remember how cool those costumes were, because it was just all the comic looks just, like, actually represented on screen in a really interesting...
I didn't like him.
I thought they were hit and miss. Like, I thought Mystique's was kind of whatever, but, like, Nightcrawler and Cyclops both look great. And I'm ashamed that they just skipped out on that. They fucking robbed us of those costumes. I like how there's a scene where someone looks at a picture of Mystique and it looks like it was taken a few days prior on set, because it just, like, the background is, like, blurred out. It's as little of the location as you could possibly see, and she's wearing the same outfit and has the same haircut and the same makeup as, like, an earlier scene. And it almost looks like some guy, some PA was like, oh, wait, there's a picture in a later scene. And he pulls out his phone and goes, Jennifer, hold on, just smile. Click. Okay, we'll send that to the prop department for that scene at the end. That's what that was to me. It would have been cool.
Look at this little fucking criminal right here.
Can you see him on screen? Hold on, let's... Oh my god, he's
Panda.
bumping into the
Panda.
table. Panda.
Panda.
Come here, boy.
Panda.
Come on.
Panda.
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 Panda man.
Pansexual panda.
Panelman.
Panda. Panda.
Come on.
Come
Pay
on, you-
attention to us, you little fucker. Come here. Come here.
Look at this fucking criminal.
I love you. Give me some hugs.
Look at this murderer.
He's my baby.
He's also a murderer.
He's my son and I love him.
He's also
You
a
would
murderer.
never understand.
We need to kill him because he's threatening all of our lives, including me. He tried to kill me.
No. He's still Panda in there. He can't control it, okay?
It doesn't matter. He's gonna kill people. We have to kill him. We have
to protect you. My old friend, don't do this.
The cat dies.
Do you really want to do this now?
Yes.
Here? They'll think we're savages fighting in the streets of New York.
Cat dies.
No! There's always a speech, and no one cares.
That's my line.
You should put in a bunch of lightning effects when we're going like this. Like, you should put in a bunch of fire and lightning shit. We gotta do that now. It'd be great.
So that's the video. Goodbye.
Yeah.